All right. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, okay, that was a joke. Gosh, I'm sorry. My ability to read humor in chat has been completely destroyed by trolls. Um the only reason I might prefer 2D women is you. That's the most romantic thing anyone has ever said to me. Thank you very much. Um anyway, in a new lawsuit, Texas contests election results in Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Guys, I don't know if this is even precedented. Like this seems like it's like some absolute unprecedented legal bullshit. Like, so for those of you who don't know, states have basically the right to run each of their elections however they see fit. So this is why there's so much diversity in the like electoral system of the United States. Um, and that can be that's a strength and a weakness. We can talk about that all day and night. This though is really weird. Having a state sue several other states for how they did their elections seems like a breach of states' rights in like an act in like the way of like actually talking about states' rights. Like it very clearly breaching some states' rights here. Um, yeah. So let's dive into this, shall we? Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is asking the U.S. Supreme Court. I can't talk today. I don't know why. To block the battleground states from casting unlawful and constitutionally tainted votes in the Electoral College. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud, experts say. So essentially, what they're arguing is that they don't want others, they want to disenfranchise the entire fucking states that are being contested right now from being able to send electors to the Electoral College. Which I don't think that's ever been done before in the history of the United States, and there's no evidence to back this up. This is some absolute like cuckoo bananas shit. All right. Let's see. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing four battleground states, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, whose election results handed the White House to President-elect Joe Biden. In the suit, he claims that pandemic-era changes to election procedures in those states violated federal law and asks the U.S. Supreme Court to block the states from voting in the Electoral College, except that I'm pretty sure that it didn't violate federal law. I'm pretty sure the court has already ruled that mail-in voting is legal. So yeah, this is some cope methadone. Yeah, this is some like next level cope, some pure cocaine. You know. The last minute bid, which legal experts have already characterized as a long shot, comes alongside dozens of similar attempts by President Donald Trump and his political allies. The majority of those lawsuits have already failed. True. Already failed. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud in the presidential election in the 2020 election. Officials in most states and the U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr have said Biden won in all four states where Paxton is challenging the results. In a filing to the High Court Tuesday, Paxton claims that four battleground states broke the law by instituting pandemic-related changes to election policies, whether through executive fiat or friendly lawsuits, thereby weakening ballot integrity. Again, states have the right to conduct their elections as they see fit. Another state should not be able to sue like a neighboring state because they happen to disagree on how those elections were conducted. This is completely bonkers. Paxton claimed that these changes allowed for voter fraud to occur, a conclusion experts and election officials have rejected, and said the court should push back a December 14th deadline by which states must appoint their presidential electors. That deadline, however, should not cement a potentially illegitimate election result in the middle of this storm, attorneys for Texas wrote. In an interview late Tuesday with Fox News, Paxton reiterated his argument that if those states acted out of accordance with the Constitution, Texans would also be affected. Our job is to make sure that the Constitution is followed and that every vote counts. In this case, I am not sure every vote was counted, not in the right way. Again, one state has no say over how another state conducts their election. So under our current system, it doesn't matter two shits how a Texan thinks the election was done in Wisconsin. What matters is what Wisconsin thinks about how the Wisconsin election was held. That's it. Ted Cruz has volunteered to speak on this issue to the Supreme Court. So we'll see how this turns out. I can only imagine it is going to be the predictable clown show that we've all come to expect. The allegations in the lawsuit are false and irresponsible, Georgia's Deputy Secretary of State, Jordan Fuchs, said in a statement Tuesday. Texas alleges that there are 80,000 forged signatures on absentee ballots in Georgia, but they don't bring forward a single person who this happened to. That's because it didn't happen. True! If there was evidence of 80,000 forgeries, you should be able to produce it. Yeah, Republicans love state rights, right up until it matters, right? Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel dismissed Paxton's suit as a publicity stunt and not serious legal pleading. Mr. Paxton's actions are beneath the dignity of the office of the Attorney General and the people of the great state of Texas, she said. So you've got dueling attorney generals now. This is wild. Political allies whose interests line up in court as, let's see. Oh, Paxton, who has been under indictment since 2015 for felony securities fraud charges, is facing fresh criminal allegations from 8 of his top deputies who said they believe he broke the law by using the agency to do favors for a political donor. Holy shit. This guy should just quietly slink off. Instead, he's just absolutely fireworking over his position. Could you do a stream about guns and gun rights at some point? I could. Part of the issue, though, is I have a very simple stance on gun issues, and it's that I'm pro-Second Amendment. People should own guns. If you're a socialist and you own guns, please join the Socialist Rifle Association, and that's about it. That's about it. Seems legit. I trust this Paxton guy. Indeed, Bojips, indeed. Notably, Paxton himself is listed as the agency's lead attorney on the case, a highly unusual role for the state official who rarely plays a hands-on role even in the state's major cases. Paxton's new chief deputy, Brent Webster, signed on to the filing, but conspicuously absent is the agency's top lawyer for appellate work, Solicitor General Kyle Hawkins, who typically argues the state's cases before the Supreme Court and did so as recently as last month. None of Hawkins' deputies is listed as contributing to the case, nor are any of the agency's hundreds of other attorneys. Weird. Gun laws are racist and an extension of police power. I think we should reduce police power, and yeah, that's my general stance. I think gun power is fine right now. And also, I mostly advocate for Second Amendment rights because it's politically expedient to do so. And hey, I'm not against people owning guns. I think that we should instead work together with conservatives to pass decommodified mental health care reform. And maybe while we're at it, we can get some healthcare reform too. Let's get some Medicare for all. Let's get some mental health care for all too. You know. Yeah, this is a weird story. like from the top to the bottom. Governor Greg Abbott, a former Texas attorney general, signaled support for the lawsuit, telling a reporter the case tries to accelerate the process, providing certainty and clarity about the entire election process. The United States of America needs that. And you know what? Like, I'm also open to, like, after we fix all these problems, if there's still massive gun violence problem, you know, maybe it's time to reevaluate our stance on guns. But like until then, like yeah, own guns. Unless you feel you are not physically safe if you own a gun, because statistically, gun ownership does not actually makes you more at risk of a gun death, since you have a gun that you can use to shoot yourself. So if you're depressed, please don't buy a gun. Yeah, mental health care is desperately needed by many, including people who own guns. And you know what? Those are the kinds of people I want to be getting the mental health care they need. You know, that seems like a pretty obvious point. Boom, exactly why I won't own one. Yeah. Very fair, ghost. Very fair indeed. All right. Well, on a similar note here, the Supreme Court rejects Trump allies' push to overturn Biden win in Pennsylvania. Gosh, some of these shoes are so cute. Fuck. Anyway, let's take a look at this story. The Supreme Court on Tuesday turned back an effort by Republicans to reverse President-elect Joe Biden's victory in Pennsylvania. The top court rejected a petition from Trump ally, U.S. Representative Mike Kelly, a Pennsylvania Republican, who I believe we talked about last week, who argued that virtually all of the state's mail-in ballots were unlawful. The move closes off one of President Donald Trump's last remaining paths to overturning the results of the 2020 election in court, even as some far-fetched legal cases remain in the works, like the one we just talked about. The decision was announced in an order with no noted dissents, as is typical for cases that are handled on an emergency basis. The entirety of the court's order read, the application for the injunction relief presented to the Justice Samuel Alito, and by him referred to the court, is denied. I forgot off the top of my head, but there's a certain part of a gun you can take out and give to a friend to make it not work, but then you have access to it when you need it. If you're still worried about doing anything, don't buy a gun, but that option is out there. Yeah, true. 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 All right. Trump has refused to concede to Biden. Let's see. 3 members of the 9-judge bench are Trump appointees. All right. Kelly's suit claimed that the law was violated in Pennsylvania Constitution by providing for no excuse mail-in voting. He, along with other conservatives, asked the top court to nullify Democratic Governor Tom Wolf's certification of the state's vote. Attorneys for Pennsylvania told the court that Kelly's request called for the most dramatic, disruptive invocations of judicial power in the history of the Republic. No court has ever issued an order nullifying a governor's certification of the presidential election results, they wrote. Lower courts sided with the state and reasoned that Kelly had waited too long to bring the challenge. The Pennsylvania law, known as Act 77, was passed in October of 2019. Yeah, after the election, seems like a bit too long to wait to challenge this law. Kelly did not bring the suit until 13 months later, after the November 3rd election had taken place. Yeah, that seems pretty legit reason to throw this out. Well, you know what? I'm pleasantly surprised by the Supreme Court. I've been pleasantly surprised a number of times by the Supreme Court. I don't want to get my hopes up too much with the conservative justices being who they are. But given that I was a bit worried that the conservative justices would go to bat for this in a big way, this is comforting.